Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
When I'm at work, I get to help people out or help people out that may have had a bad day or may have come in and feel like they're having the worst day of their life, that everything's going to be wrong on their vehicle. And then they found the one person that can just explain to them and can talk to them about, hey, it's not as bad as you think. I'm here to listen to you. Just let's work on this. Let's work through this.
Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Today's episode brought to you by Keller Williams Mid-Willamette. For all your real estate needs, call Keller Williams and H&R Block of Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon, and Kaiser, your tax preparation specialists. Hey everybody, Russ here with another episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. So great to see you all here today. And today we have a great guest all the way from Tennessee. And his name is David. And David is going to be talking with us here in a short time. But before we let him on, I want to remind you that I am Russ. I'm a coach and motivational speaker. I love to connect with people. And the easiest way to connect with me is russhedge.com. That's russhedge.com. You can get all my connection points, all my social media, everything, and we can chat. In fact, if you go on, you can schedule a free half hour to chat with me, and I would love to connect with you. You know, people ask me every day, so Russ, what exactly do you really do? Well, I tell you, there's so many people that have a great product or great service, but they don't know how to connect and draw great people into their business, paying customers, and I can help you with that. So if you need that help today, or if you just want to chat, just go on to russhedge.com, and I'll look forward to that. So speaking of connection, this podcast, Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie, is all about amazing people who connect. And today, our amazing person is David Munford. David is from Tennessee, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself. But first of all, hey, David, how are you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be on another podcast. This is since Friday night. This is my 6th podcast I've recorded since Friday. So.
Wow, you are on the podcast tour. That is.
You're the second person that said that. Well, the rest said, "What, are you going on a book tour or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing a book tour."
Well, I know that you just love to connect with people, and you have such a great personality. We talked so much yesterday, had a great talk, and got to know you. And I just think that you're an outstanding individual. So I know you have a day job. We can see that you just got back from your day job. Tell us about that and what you love about connecting there, and then tell us a little bit about your past.
I guess what I love connecting about my job, and it kind of, what I've noticed, it kind of goes back into my past, is when I'm at work, I get to help people out or help people out that may have had a bad day or may have come in and feel like they're having the worst day of their life, that everything's going to be wrong on their vehicle. And then they found the one person that can just explain to them and can talk to them about, hey, it's not as bad as you think. I'm here to listen to you. Just let's work on this. Let's work through this. Let's work through whatever your situation is. And then by the time they leave, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for taking the time to actually educate me, or take the time to listen to my concerns. So how that kind of correlates to go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that you just said it right there. You're taking the time to listen to people, and you're a service advisor working on automobiles. And that is so important because people don't know. And that's great. So I just want to commend you for that.
Yeah. And how that relates to my past is I grew up in a very strong Christian home, had a great life growing up. I mean, probably couldn't ask for a better family to grow up with. Well, long story short, for 5 years, I went off the deep end and got involved on the wrong side of the tracks and stuff I never grew up in. Got highly addicted to pornography, highly addicted to drinking, highly addicted to smoking cigarettes, but could always stop smoking cigarettes because I saw what it did to my grandfather and my aunt, and that I was able to stop that. So didn't really do that very long. And then I got involved. I dealt with emotional issues, with mental health issues for a couple years. When I came out of my dark side, I went through depression for about a year and a half to 2 years. Went through some dark depression, and then around 2012, I came back out of it and came back to the right side of everything. I thought I didn't realize that I had always been sitting in front of my face the whole time growing up, and had my parents. I always thought my parents were trying to control me, when honestly they were just being there to help me. They were being there to just guide me in the way. But I took it in my stubbornness as they were trying to control me and couldn't see that. So that's a quick blimp of where I'm at today, what's brought me to today.
Well, and it's so amazing. You talk about your parents and such a great upbringing. And I also had awesome parents that taught me so much and really gave me so much growing up. And so I can understand that. But we all get to that point in life where we make decisions. And I think after you went through that time, you found that you really loved where you were previously, because you were able to connect more with people and able to get a life that was more meaningful, really. And I think that like we were talking about yesterday, you have really seen the value in that in the job you're in currently, and as you're expanding and doing your own podcast and things like that.
I really am. I see the value of the one thing I've learned since April 7th, and that's what started this whole adventure of being on podcast, is that I was laid off. I wasn't laid off. They allowed me to take a voluntary layoff for a couple months because business was just shaky and we weren't sure how things were going to go, and I wasn't making any money at work. So I got home. So I went home, and my wife looked at me because she's a school teacher, and she was going to be working from home. She's like, okay, what are you going to do if you're going to be home? Because before I would get stir crazy being at home and not be able to just be at home. So I started getting involved on LinkedIn and started connecting with people on different shows of sharing my story. And when one person would hear my story, another person would contact me and be like, oh my gosh, your past, where you've been, your work history with the automotive industry, how you started as a tech. You worked as a tech for about 2 months. About 2 months. I was a tech for 2 months at the Toyota dealership, and then as they watched me, I was working so hard, they moved me into a service advisor position as the quick loop. I was in that position for about, I just been in my like a full service advisor for the last about month now. For almost a year and a half, I worked as the TXM service advisor. Flourished there, got that up to where it was, and got it up to where it had always struggled. Brought that out of in ways I brought that out of the pits of a struggling department. And now they've promoted me to a regular service advisor, and they gave me that position. They wanted me to be there so we have a strong team of guys, but to bring my expertise from where I was on the TXM over to the regular service advisor so I could get more business in. And I'm seeing they're kind of training me to be a leader, and I don't know where it's going to end.
Yeah, you're a natural leader. I can see that. And you have a great way with people. And that's really unique nowadays. And I just commend you for coming from where you were, getting to where you're at. So while you were spending that time at home and you started connecting on LinkedIn, you started doing your own podcasting. Talk about that a little bit.
Uh, Really, I just started my own podcast about just just within the last couple months because I've been on so many, and everybody was like, "You need to start your own podcast. You've been on so many. Why don't you start your own?" And I was like, "Okay, I don't really know how to do that," and talk to other people, and they got me hooked up with the Anchor app. And when I started my own podcast, I'm getting now people have seen me uh, on several podcasts just this past week, that I'm getting people like, okay, I want to come on your show. Can I please come on your show and talk? I'm like, sure, why? Yeah, let's do it. So my podcast is in the red glasses. Everybody always asks about the red glasses. What's the story behind the red glasses? And basically, I don't have to wear glasses, but I was like, hey, I didn't know I had to. I didn't know I could stop wearing glasses. So I wanted some funky glasses, just some off the wall glasses. And I got the red glass. I just got a pair of prescription red glasses. And when I started wearing the red glasses at work, I noticed I get more people drawn to me. And my business is growing so much more, and I'm busy so much more at work. And then when people saw the red glasses, every time I jump on a podcast anywhere in the world, because I've talked to people all over the world. Right. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you actually wear the red glasses?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wear the red glasses." They're like, "I thought that was just something." I was like, "No, they're my actual glasses." They're like, "Oh my gosh, that is amazing! You're actually wearing them." So a lady I'm on to my podcast for automotive industry. She saw him one night, and she's like, "Do you have branding for your podcast?" I'm like, "No, not really." And she's like, your podcast needs to be Seeing Red with David Munford. And I was like, okay, I like that. That's off the wall. That's kind of original. So I'll go with it. And then I looked up, when I started the podcast, I actually looked up what the color red means. And then it all goes back to the beginning, where red is love, honesty, encouragement, health. That's exactly what my life is. That's exactly what I want my podcast to be. Red is a leader. You stand out when you see red. And I'm like, okay, that's what I am. That's exactly what everything is. So that's
how you got to that point. Seeing Red, I think that is outstanding branding. And I am looking forward to at some point being able to be on your podcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, believe it or not, our time is already up. So I want to make sure that you give your contact information, because I know people are going to want to know more about you, and other people are going to want you on their podcast. So how do they get a hold of David Munford?
The easiest way is LinkedIn. As far as I know, well, if you go on LinkedIn, put in David Munford, I'm the guy with the red glasses. So, and then you can follow my podcast. And my podcast is Seeing Red with David Munford. It's literally on any platform where you listen to podcasts. It's just everywhere out there. Only got a couple episodes right currently. I just have a couple episodes out there. But what I've heard, people are blown away by the realness. And I don't edit my podcast. I just hit record. We talk for however long we're going to talk, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe 15 minutes. And then when I'm done, I just put it out there and just let it be real and open.
That's what I think people love, the genuineness, your authenticity. I think that is so great. So, hey, David, it is so great to get to know you. You and I are definitely going to stay in touch. And I look forward to being on Seen in Red. And for all of you that are out there today, if you want to know more about David, go to LinkedIn, look for the David with the red glasses, and you'll find him. And we'll link to that in the podcast notes today. So, hey, it's been great to have you all here with us for another episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day